Welcome to the Locked On Wizards. What's good, Wizards fans? And welcome to the Locked On Wizards podcast. It's your host, the real Ed Oliver, my guy, Brandon Scott. We're going to talk about this Wizards loss to the 76ers. The Wizards lose 118 to 111. We're going to talk about it in another struggling game. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Wizards podcast. Just want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. Just want to say happy Halloween to everybody. Hope everybody's being safe out there, trick-or-treating and whatnot. So Brandon, Anthont Gill got the start today over Deni Avdija. The Wizards were atrocious on defense. Bradley Beal had 2 turnovers in the clutch. What stood out to you? What was your thoughts on Anthont Gill getting the start today and then the 2 turnovers from Bradley Beal?
Obviously, Wes is trying to figure out the right rotations. DeLon Wright, his injury continues to be an issue for his team. Defensively and just cohesion on this team is off right now. These last 3 games, this team has just been off. I was very surprised. I don't think that Gill showed enough to start, but nevertheless he did. But it was a struggle for a lot of people. Deni didn't score a point tonight. While Gill did score 11 points, those wide open 3-point shots that he refused to take were frustrating. It was a hard night. KP showed up. KP contributed 32 points, 9 rebounds, so he continues to show up and play well, but Bradley Beal, second game in a row that he started slow. He did get 20 points, but he was 7 for 18 behind the arc. Monte Morris, 19 points. He contributed, through scoring points, but again, he's just not attacking the basket the way he needs to. And Kuz, 9 points. You want to get paid, you got to step up. We say time and time again, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but it is what it is. But, starting Gill, that was a surprise. Gill did contribute, but not enough to warrant a starting nod. Clearly Wes is trying to find that perfect rotation because, hey, Kispert didn't play, so he's trying to find that right lineup. So, it is what it is, but it was a massive struggle, but if you look at the team stats, they were about even. So, man, I at this point, I think Wes is just trying to figure out the best rotation to put around him because who else? I mean, if not Gill or Deni, who? Johnny Davis.
Probably try out Rui.
Well, absolutely.
Or even maybe Will. I mean, I know Will's a 6-man, but you could try. There's a couple other guys you could try in there.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, Rui has showed out. 10 points, but he's done his job. We have little issues here and there with ISO, but he has done his job this season. So I don't have too much negative to say on the defense, but that's just team wide, man. But yeah, I mean, like you said, Barton and Rui are options, but again, who you play at the 3? You know what I mean? Like, if you play Barton or Rui at the 3 on the bench unit, who do you play at the 2? Johnny's, I don't know why he's not in the G League right now. I mean, I might just have to give him a ride down there. I mean, Goodwin, I thought should have got points, or not points, but minutes tonight. I don't know why the Goodwin didn't get any minutes. And it's just, yeah, man, that's my takeaway from the starting unit and this bench unit. It was just, you saw a little bit from the starters, but the bench was non-existent. Other than 10 points from Rui and 7 from Barton, 0 from Deni, 10 minutes from Gaff. Davis and Taj Gibson came in and they were non-factors. So it was hard to watch, man.
Yeah, it was painful. No Joel Embiid. I mean, and I looked when I saw he was out. I was actually upset because I'm tired of us playing these teams. And I know you want to. It's like, okay, yeah, we'll take the what's supposed to be. And I knew it wasn't going to be an easy game at all. But you had to take advantage of Joel Embiid not being there. This is a game where you had somewhat of an advantage. And there were points where it looked like the Wizards could have got blown out. I think they were down by 17 at one point. They were down by 18 at one point. The defense is atrocious. But just to get back to the starting lineup that West chose to go with Anthont Gill over Deni. Deni has been our best defender at times. Yes, did he get cooked by Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown? Everybody did yesterday against the Celtics. it wasn't just one guy. Anthony Gill was getting beat as well. But yeah, it's an indictment on what they think about our first round picks that they picked, or what West thinks about the guys that were just picked in Denny and Rui. I mean, these guys aren't starting. He has them coming off the bench. You have a guy, Anthony Gill, who's similar to Nick Collison with the Thunder, who's a small ball 5, and you're starting him at the 3. We just don't have a natural 3-and-D guy. We just don't have one. And West is just throwing stuff at the wall. So Anthony Gill, I thought he played well today. I thought he had some good moments, but like you said, he passes up 3-pointers. He can't really create a shot for himself. He passes up 3-pointers. He did miss a layup, but I thought he had some good moments. But on a contender, I just don't see him starting on a contending team, or really a playoff contending team right now in the league. I just don't. And it's not a knock on him. I think he's a good player, but it would be ideal to play guys as you just drafted. And I'm not saying that you gift wrap them minutes, but I think a guy like Rui or Denny would be better suited. But then again, like if they're not playing well, then sure, try somebody else. But Anthony Gill starting at the 3 is definitely a wonky lineup. It's a weird lineup for sure by West to make that decision. So it's definitely intriguing and a little head scratching at moments. So we'll see how it goes forward. Like you said, without DeLon Wright, it's just like the lineup is just out of sorts. And it's crazy that missing DeLon Wright just makes everything just so wacky and out of sorts that I never would have thought that missing DeLon Wright would just make the Wizards defense just go from having potential to basically the worst defense in the league right now, from what I'm seeing. Wes doubling James Harden didn't work. Going to zone. Georges Niang looked like Ray Allen out there. James Harden had 17 assists. He did whatever he wanted. We let guys wide open in the corners. PJ Tucker opened wide open threes in the corner. Tobias Harris wide open threes in the corner. Tyrese Maxey did whatever he felt like doing. Tyrese Maxey had how many points tonight? 28 points tonight. He could have had 30 easily. James Harden had 23 points, 17 assists, and 7 boards. And we'll get to Bradley Beal next in the next segment. We definitely got to talk about him. We're live, so we're definitely gonna read you guys' comments after our takeaways on the game. But before we do talk about Bradley Beal and those late costly turnovers when the Wizards were actually making a run, they were making it respectable towards the end, but we're definitely going to get to that. But before we do get to that, this episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps find the right people for your team faster and for free. This is how it works. You add your job and the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you like to interview and hire. It's the end of the year, so you got to finish strong and find the right team member that can help you do that. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNBA to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Thanks for making Locked On Wizards your first listen today. For your second listen today, check out Locked On Sports Today. From the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports Today, available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Also, before I forget this thought too, I almost forgot to bring up the Kuzma Miss Fancy dunk. That was ridiculous. He's going to be on Shaq No Fool for that. That was definitely a momentum swing there too. But yeah, what were your takeaways on Bradley Beal's performance today and those late turnovers?
Oh man, come on. I mean, again, second game in a row, it took him till the second half to get going.
Mm-hmm.
The turnovers are a problem. Him dribbling the ball forever, not trying to pass the ball up. Look, I'm very loyal to this team. I like Bradley Beal, but he's not that guy. There's guys in this league who can create that shot, who can dribble, who's got those moves. Kyrie Irving's one of those guys who dribble. Brad's just not that guy. He's got to go back to what he's good at. I'm not to say he can't create his own shot. He's done very well over the years adding that part to his game. And it's been, it's been cool watching him go from that spot-up shooter from the John Wall days to being a guy who can drive the lane. But he's just not that guy. He's got to stop. He's got to really go back to team basketball. There was times tonight that the ball movement was a lot better from the last couple of games. The ball movement was better, but then in crunch time, 2 turnovers in crunch time in the fourth quarter you can't do that. That is not that's not winning basketball. You cannot turn the ball over. They had chances tonight. Even after everything tonight, we still had a chance down the stretch to win this game. And that's the part that's really frustrating is that, we were in this game, minus Embiid. Embiid's in the game. This is a totally different game. And we have to capitalize on injuries, going against the 76. Look, we're in Philly Wednesday night. So,
he'll probably be back by then too.
Absolutely. So, look, this is, Wednesday night in Philly's going to be a hard one. There's no rest for the weary right now. We got Brooklyn coming up. We got the Grizzlies coming up. We're going to get tested. Brooklyn ain't no joke. Kyrie's going to test us. John Morant's going to test us. It doesn't get easier from here, So, really, the question is, have they reached their ceiling? This current group right now, have they reached their ceiling? Because right now they're playing like a team who you would be happy to make the play-in. This is not a playoff team. Bradley Beal, 7 for 18. Again, that can't happen. Bradley Beal's got to step up. Kuzma, 9 points. Come on, Kuz. You try and get that bag, man. You ain't get no bag on no 9 points. KP has been a bright spot for this team. KP has been consistent. He has consistently played well. I still think that he could get a nod maybe for an all-star berth this year because I think he's an all-star talent. He has been healthy. He's produced. But, not that it's, maybe too little early, a little early to talk like this, but he could be a trade piece because of how good he's playing. Because look at the team, man. Bradley Beal, the max player, it has not played up to his potential. And now we got Anthont Gill starting at the 3. Come on, we got to make some moves. And that goes
roster construction.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This is on Wes. This is on Tommy. Tommy, stop finding these point guards that you're trying to force into a starting role. Go get a starter. We were talking about it last night. The long list of point guards that we have tried to make starters. Go get a starter. Seriously. Monte's not that guy. Barton has been, he's done well on the bench, but 7 points, really a non-factor. His bench was non-existent. The bench might as well just sit down and watch the game because Gaff for 10 minutes. What's going on with that? Have they lost confidence in Gaff? Because 10 minutes for a guy that's about to go into an extension, that's scary. I'm telling you right now. And it comes down to Tommy Shepard. You cannot sign these guys to extensions when they have not proven to earn them yet. Was I in big favor of acquiring Gaff? Yeah, but he hasn't earned an extension yet. What has he done that is earning an extension? He's still pretty raw. Especially when you look at the modern big in the NBA, he's a dinosaur. Last game he shot a couple mid ranges. He's trying, but man, in this era, as a big, look at KP, you have to be able to shoot at a high percentage from behind the arc. So, yeah, that's my big takeaway, especially from Beal. I'm disappointed. He's got to get started faster. You cannot wait to the second half.
Yeah, once again, another somewhat underwhelming game for Bradley Beal. I'm not going to say somewhat. For a guy who's a max player, he's supposed to be your number one guy, getting 35% of the salary cap, no trade clause, and a trade kicker as well. 2 turnovers in a clutch. The first one, it was just a lackadaisical turnover. I think Tybal plucked it from him. Then the second one, the double team comes and he's not ready to attack it, or he's not ready for the double team. He doesn't pass the ball out quickly. Doesn't make a quick decision. Turnover, they take the ball down and then they score. Then he gets doubled again. He almost turned the ball over again. So he's not a point guard. We've tried point Bill. We've tried it numerous times. Like you said, we just don't have a natural point guard. Monte Morris is a point guard, but he's a backup at best. And we just cannot have the ball in his hands bringing the ball up. He has to come off screens, pin downs. He has to get the ball. He has to be off ball. Him is bringing the ball up in the clutch situations. It's a turnover waiting to happen. And this is what has happened year after year after year. He led the league in turnovers and clutch turnovers. The clutch is 5 minutes left in the game with a game within 5 points. It's within 5 points. I don't think we were within 5 points at that time, but it's still to me considered the clutch where he turned the ball over back-to-back times. And they hurt us bad because we were coming back. We actually had somewhat of a chance to make this a ball game, and he turns the ball over. So he had some good moments. He had the N1-3, got to the basket a couple times. He did miss some layups in the first half too, but Once again, he's not living up to expectations. He hasn't done it the past 2 games. Really, he had a good game against the Bulls in a clutch, but he hasn't really played a full game. We haven't seen a full 4 quarters of domination from Bradley Beal. What I saw from Donovan Mitchell in that Cavaliers game, that was a domination. He dominated the Wizards in that game. What I saw today from Tyrese Maxey, he dominated. I haven't seen a full 4 quarters from Bradley Beal. I just haven't seen it. I've seen a quarter. I've seen 5 minutes of domination, but I haven't seen a full game of domination from Bradley Beal yet. Kyle Kuzma, the missed dunk was inexcusable. Who did you make a bet with somebody that you're going to do a windmill dunk before the game? Like, what's going on here? I'm just confused by him doing that. I know he might have tried to get the crowd hype, but just dunk the ball, lay it up, whatever. We just need 2 points at the time. Gafford, he's really regressed, man. It's really unfortunate how much he's regressed. And I know he needs a point guard that can spoon feed him and get him lobs and easy baskets. We just don't have a guy that can penetrate and get to the rim. But he dropped the ball on back-to-back plays. One time he caught it. They stripped it from him. Then he got blocked. Then he had a goaltend as well. When it clearly Montrezl Harrell, he clearly was going to miss the layup, and the Gafford comes out of nowhere and goaltends. So he has to work on his basketball IQ. I'm just confused the drop off from Daniel Gafford. I mean, I love Gaff. I love what he did that year in 2020 with Russell Westbrook. Even some moments last year, I thought he was good, but this year he's just not playing good ball right now. He's in his head. I think he's lost his confidence. He's not playing smart ball right now. He's really not. And he's getting pushed around. He's giving up offensive rebounds. And he's a non-factor to the point where they had to play Taj Gibson instead of Daniel Gafford. I thought Rui gave some good minutes just from an individual standpoint, 10.6 boards. I thought he tried on defense. He got a couple steals. He made some deflections here and whatnot. Denny had a goose egg tonight. His offensive game really is a work in progress. He has to work on creating a shot for himself. Now, I thought defensively, he did an okay job on James Harden. I thought he had back-to-back deflections and steals that did lead to points. So he did have a positive impact in the game on the defensive side of the ball, but offensively, he just doesn't have any go-to moves right now or finishing moves right now on the offensive side of the ball. You brought up Porzingis. I thought Porzingis was good. I thought they should have gave him the ball more. He had 32 points. I thought nobody on the court could guard him, especially with Embiid not being there. Tobias Harris is 6'8". Georges Niang is 6'9". Montrezl Harrell is 6'9" on a good day. So they had no post presence to really stop Porzingis. They should have ran the offense through him more than what they did, to be honest with you. And the offense, not a lot of ball. There was ball movement at times, but it's a murky offense. And they don't set enough screens for Brad to really get pin downs and get open shots in the paint. And, Wes is lost defensively. We played zone, gave up wide open threes. We're doubling, and we don't know how to double. So I'm just really disappointed and underwhelmed from what I've seen from Wes Unseld Jr. in his coaching tenure so far. I mean, like I brought up defensive rating, defensive efficiency with Scott Brooks. They're ranked 20th, and then this last year we were 25th. And defense looks like they can't guard a parked car right now. They can't get stops. They can't guard anybody. And Wes Unseld Jr. was brought in to be a defensive-minded head coach, and I just haven't seen it so far.
Yes. Like I said, to me, the question is, has this team reached their ceiling already? And I'm thinking they have. They are what they are, what people predicted them to be, a playing team. Playing being the best case scenario, because they're just not it. It's on Tommy, man. It's on Wes. Really, it's Tommy, more on Tommy because he hired Wes.
Yeah, it's Ted as well.
It's just you can't keep putting Band-Aids at the point guard position because you got to find that guy. And I see a lot of people saying, SGA, but to get SGA, you're going to have to gut half this roster. And so you're just going to have SGA and Beal and a bunch of guys. It's just, you got to, and I just don't want to, I'm trying to avoid saying rebuild, but I mean, because can you really truly rebuild? You're in it with Bill, you're in it to win it. That contract is untradeable. He's got a no trade clause. So he dictates where he goes. So you're in it. To me, and this is just my opinion, everybody's on the block. Everybody's on the block. These young guys are on the block. Kuz is on the block. Everybody's on the block. Because it doesn't get easier. It doesn't get easier from here. We're going through the meat of the Eastern Conference coming up. And the 76ers showed how much chemistry is important. They were rocking, without Embiid. Tyrese Maxey, man, how he's developed, going from a guard that nobody expected this, from him. He's oh man, he was incredible tonight. I mean, James Harden, he still got it a little bit. I mean, James Harden, like you said, he did what he wanted to do. I mean, that's unreal. 17 assists. I mean, come on, Wes, 17 assists.
17
I
assists.
mean, this, the deep, like me and you always say, his forte is defense. If that's not gonna be it, then look, going into the offseason, maybe we need to go look for another coach. I mean, your forte is defense. If you're not doing your job, then what are we talking about? I mean, we clearly have gone downhill from Scott Brooks, and I didn't think that was possible, but it is. I mean, this is just not a good defensive team. I mean, they're terrible on defense. And Kuz, look, stop trying to be Hollywood, man. Dunk the ball. Stop trying to be all out. It's too much playing around, man. You saw it wasn't Bill. I think Bill must have heard us last night because he was a little serious tonight. But I saw Monte at the free throw line grinning. It's like, brother, what are you grinning at, man? Like you guys are trying to have fun and you're getting smoked in your home court. I mean, we gotta have a little pride on this team. For a team coming into Capital One and smoke them the way they got smoked, like, come on, man. Nah, man, we got smoked like a cheap pack of cigarettes, man. I mean, it's just come on, that's where I'm at, man. It's just I want to be optimistic. I want to, I always want my team to win. It's just I think we've reached our ceiling, man. I mean, we are what we are, and unfortunately, Tommy has put all his chips in the middle of the table on Bradley Beal being that guy, and I don't see it. I don't think he's going to be that guy. I think going towards the deadline, we're going to have to look ourselves in the mirror and really ask ourselves, what am I trying to do? What am I trying to rebuild? And look, Ted, you're going to have to break it down, man. You're going to have to break it all down. This is me, man.
Yeah. And look, we don't want to overreact. Just like last year, they were 10-3 and then it went south. We've seen, even the John Wall year, they started off 0-5 and they ended up making the playoffs. So you just never know. I think it's I would be optimistic to say that they would be able to turn this around. Instead of starting out 10-3, it looks like they may start 3-10, especially looking at the schedule. But another thing about Denny, he did make some good plays. He had an alley-oop to Porzingis, and he had a nice fast break where he made a pass to Anthony Gill. He got a dunk. But yeah, we can definitely get to the comments real quick, and then we'll wrap it up for tonight. Yeah, I mean, like you said, with the rebuilding thing, Ted said he'll never ever tank. But they do have to evaluate at the trade deadline. They had to ship guys off last year, and it could be the same situation. You got guys that are looking for new deals and contracts, and if things go south, then yes, you will have to look to recoup and get some picks. They need picks. They need more picks. Or they could use picks to get some more talent in here through the draft. Richard Hibbert says Brad, Bill, and Kuz 9 points. Perfect Finance says, again, Denny did not play the amount of minutes he should have. Do you have any thoughts on that, Brandon?
I agree. I totally agree. I think that he actually did a good job guarding James Harden tonight. I mean, he did a good job on the defensive end. 0 points. It's a little underwhelming, but again, like we always stress, the offensive burden's not on him. He's that defensive guy. We're trying to develop him into a 3-and-D, which could be easier said than done. But defense is a name of game for Denny, and yeah, he should have got a lot more minutes. Anthony Gill starting, is a his scratcher.
Yeah, it is. Now Denny, yeah, he's not a 3-and-D guy. He's trying to become that. The Wizards organization has tried to pigeonhole him into that role because we just don't have that guy on the roster, which is what the Wizards really, really need. Yeah, I thought he could have got more minutes. I think Rui can get some more minutes. They need to consolidate too. I think they have too many guys at the same position. We've talked about that before too. Yeah, Anthony Gill getting the start. But I do think Denny, he's able to be more of a playmaker off the bench. I'll say that. He's able to get the rebound and push. That was the best that he looked on offense. That's where he's best at when he gets the board and he just pushes on a fast break and transition. So he doesn't get that opportunity much with, Brad and KP out there and Kuz and Monte. He's more that 3-and-D guy. So, Wes made a change last night. He kind of scapegoated Denny and kind of blamed him for the defense when it wasn't all his fault. But Anthony Gill, he's just alive. But there's one play where James Harden just didn't even go out there and guard him because he knew Anthony Gill wasn't going to shoot the ball. And then Anthony Gill got the ball back and finally decided to shoot it. And, he missed the 3. So, but once again, I thought Anthony Gill, for what it's worth, I thought he played hard, and I thought he gave some good minutes at points, though. K. Then, whose profile picture actually looks like Wes Unseld Jr., He said,
Yeah, it does.
he said, Wes must go. Perfect Findings also says when Wiz were down by 10, Bradley Beal lost the ... Ben says pathetic defense again. Siddharth Pathamudi says, bruh, what is this defensive and offensive scheme? This team is embarrassing. Did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, hit the nail on the head. I mean, the defensive and offensive schemes are terrible, man. I mean, the defense is just non-existent. I mean, again, we're going to keep pushing this point across, man. The name of the game for Wes Unseld is defense. So why we're struggling as much as we are is just I don't understand it. I mean, look, man, look at the schedule right now. At Philadelphia, home against Brooklyn, at Memphis, at Charlotte, home against Dallas, home against Utah. Utah's been playing good ball. I mean, home against Memphis. You might get some rest against Oklahoma City, but then you turn around and get Miami. I mean, you could easily lose almost every one of those games except for Oklahoma City. And even then, Oklahoma City is a young, hungry team. So, it's just we were very optimistic going into the season, but I think we hit our ceiling. I'm gonna stress it again. I think we have hit our ceiling. So I totally agree.
Yeah. So this is from Hoop District on Twitter. They said Monte Morris said in the press conference after the game, he said Taj Gibson spoke up in the Wizards locker room after the game with a message to play for the name on the front of your jersey. So, kind of reminds me of last year a little bit, not to the extent of people not liking each other and fighting with each other, but that's Taj Gibson. He's supposed to be a locker room guy and a locker room leader, kind of the Udonis Haslem of the team, and he's already speaking up. We do want Brad to be that vocal guy and that vocal leader as well. So already Taj has had to step in and let his voice be heard. He's that player's coach. The defensive offensive scheme, there is no scheme. It's let guys be wide open for threes, not communicate. Let Benedict Mathurin have wide open threes. Let Buddy Hield have wide open threes. Let Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have wide open threes. Let Niang have wide open threes. Maxey, James Harden, PJ Tucker, you name it. Let them have a wide open three. That's what the offense is. That's what the defense scheme is. They win zone. They doubled. Both didn't work. They don't know how to rotate. They don't know how to close out on shooters. This underwhelming defense. Just cones on defense, turnstiles on defense right now. Can't guard park cars right now. They just don't communicate, and they don't not. There was no reason to double James Harden. James Harden, he had a solid game, but offensively, this was not like a patented vintage James Harden offensive game where he's hitting the step back and cooking and doing the pot thing. It wasn't one of those games. He was cooking the Wizards in that first quarter, but other than that, he kind of slowed down. It was more of a Maxey game. So if they wanted to double somebody, they really could have doubled Maxey, but they really shouldn't have doubled anybody. I thought it was unnecessary doubling from Wes Unseld Jr. I can get Joel Embiid. You want to shut his water off because he's a guy that can really just hurt you in the paint continuously. So I understand why you double Embiid, but it was just really unnecessary doubling James Harden tonight. And it really hurt the Wizards. Oleg Chesky says Kuz had 5 shots the whole game. He can't step up when he doesn't get the ball. Yeah, he hit a rough night. And I think Wes took him out for a little bit after that missed dunk too. I got to rewatch the game. But Perfect Finance says, I bought 3 tickets to the Wiz on March flying from Israel, and sadly, I hope he switches teams. Anyone want tickets? I think he's talking about Danny Avdia. He said he hopes he switches teams. So we'll see. Did you have any thoughts on any of the last comments, Brandon?
I mean, I'll take the tickets. But I mean, you hit the nail on the head, bro. I mean, it's just the defense is horrible, man. It's just horrible. It's hard to watch, man, because there are times when we could make the game closer, and it's just time and time again. It's either to turnovers from Bradley Beal or they're playing star basketball, ISO. It's just they abandoned team basketball too quick, man. They started out where the ball movement was actually on point, and then it goes right back into ISO ball and, Bradley Beal dribbling for 20 seconds. Just,
Right. Wizards should tank playing and per finals. Yeah, the 3 tickets, if you do want to send them our way, you definitely can. We appreciate you for that. The Don Production said Wizards should tank playing and exit is what I see. Like I said, we're not going to talk about the T word just yet. We'll evaluate until the trade deadline to talk about that. Ben says Gill is the last resort to ever start. Starting him was ridiculous. Bango says if the Wizards continue to lose through the month of November, I would just start the young players and trade players before the deadline. Yeah, Johnny Davis got some playing time. he didn't do much to really evaluate him. I don't even think he shot the ball today. Did he shoot the ball? Did you see him shoot the ball? I'm looking at the box score. See if he did not. He didn't shoot the ball. He did have an assist to Kuzma. I did like that. But yeah, honestly, I wanted him to go to the G League. But yeah, like Van Gogh says, if they're gonna play like this, then you might as well play Goodwin. You might as well play Todd a little bit. See what these young guys can do. You might as well. Richard Hibbert says defensive turnover. Shout out to KP. He was balling. But darn, Bill, and Kuz, where you at? Let's see. There's a lot of comments in here, so we're gonna try to get through them. Biggie Steve said this team is a joke. Like I said in Finest magazine podcast, I'll tell it again. First, Bradley Beal dribbling all day and turnover 2 calls down the stretch. 2 Kuz with the missed fake all-star dunk. Yeah. GK says on the bright side, Denny did miss a layup tonight. That is true. I mean, he only shot the ball one time. He did not miss a layup tonight. I do get very upset when he misses layups. In the plus minus box, everybody on the bench was a minus. Denny was a minus 12. Like it doesn't really the plus minus stat is a stat that is hard to evaluate. It's not always a good stat to evaluate, but everybody on the bench was a plus minus. Anthony Tony says Maxey and Tyrese Halliburton outplayed Bradley Beal. They cost less than him combined. They did. They both dominated. They both impacted the game more than what Bradley Beal did. And that's just being honest. It really is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Van Gogh says this season is really showing everyone that Ted Leonsis and Tommy Shepard don't know what they are doing. We'll talk about that later. Had 3 stops in a row on Harden, and then he's pulled out. ? Wes, it's not Denny, it's you.
Truth.
Yep. No sense of urgency. Biggie Steve said third, Gill scared to shoot an open 3. Fourth, the bad transition defense not stepping out on the 3. And for the last and most sickening, Brad and some of the team laughing in the third quarter. Body language is just not there in transition defense, and we're not pushing the pace either. Looking at some of our numbers, we regressed offensively too. We're 25th in points per game. We're 30th in free throw attempts. We're 25th in offensive rating and 22nd in fast break points. So we don't push the pace. We don't put any pressure on the defense at all. Let's see if there's any other comments that we want to get to. You see any comments you want to look at, and then we'll probably.
Oh yeah, I got one right here. My man Van Gogh. Yes, you can rebuild with Bradley Beal. You have no other choice. I mean, look, like I said, they went all in. They paid him that supermax. I mean, you have no choice but to roll with Bill right now. I mean, I think everybody else is available, but I saw a couple comments, saying who would want Bill at this price tag?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good question. I mean, who's willing to part with the assets it would be required to get Bill? Nobody. I mean, at this point, we should have traded him 3 years ago. What was it, last season when Golden State had, what was it, Anthony Wiggins? I keep calling him Anthony Wiggins. Wiggins,
Andrew Wiggins,
yeah. What was it, Wiseman? And then the 2 picks, which ended up
Jordan
being
Poole, possibly
yeah.
Jordan Poole.
I mean, that's a good move, and they're hesitant. I don't get what Ted and Tommy see. I like Brad, but he was best as second fiddle with John Wall, and that's just what it is. He was a good scoring option for John Wall, but as being the guy, how many years are we going to keep waiting for this to develop? I mean, how many years have we been saying that Bradley Beal's the guy? It's not happening. He's a good scoring option, but he's not the number one option. And I think that's what's frustrating a lot of fans, including myself. It's like, we know what it is. They're trying to push this agenda forward. Like we don't know what it is. We know he's not the number one option. We knew that.
Mm-hmm.
We knew that re-signing him to a supermax was going to hamper this franchise. It hampered us with Arenas. It hampered us with John Wall. We got out from Westbrook's contract. How many times are we going to shoot ourselves in the foot?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many times are we going to keep doing this? It's frustrating, man, because how many times are you going to sign guys who either have an injury history, or in Bradley Beal's case, is he starting to decline? You got to ask that question. Is he starting to decline? Have we seen Bradley Beal in his prime the year before last? Because last year he was not a good year for him. And this year so far, he's just struggled. So
Yeah, we saw it with Gill. Unfortunately, Gill with injuries, Wall with injuries, it just didn't end well in DC. And then also, you look at Deron Williams when he signed a big contract, he declined after that. So you've seen it. You've seen guys get big deals. They racked up on injuries, or they just gotten older and they decline. His 3-point shooting is it's underwhelming now. He's shooting like with 29% from the three. He's not shooting the ball well from the 3-point line. He's struggling just from the field in general, and this was last year too. But yeah, it's just unsettling to see that you have 3 first-round picks and none of them can start, and that you're having Anthony Gill start over your first-round picks. That's unsettling as well. That's an indictment on the draft process as well, just the evaluation process and the coaching decisions. But yeah, Bradley Beal, he's in that tier with Chris Middleton, man. He should be a number 2 guy next to a Giannis, a number 2 guy next to Steph Curry, or next to Kevin Durant, or LeBron James, just being that number 2. He's the perfect number 2 guy, but he's not a number 1. Like, you wouldn't build a team around Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton's a heck of a player, but you're not going to sign Chris Middleton to a supermax deal. And there's been some times where Chris Middleton's hit some big time shots for the Bucks. Yeah. But nobody's banging on the door to sign him as the face of the franchise. They're just not doing it. So I really put him in that tier, in that class with Middleton and number 2 guys like Kyrie and guys like that. So it's just the decision that they made. It's a great guy, great character guy, and all that. He's been on the team for 10 years, but we can go on and on with that. It's gotten to the point where fans meet. He said, I would like to see DeMarcus Cousins backing up KP. Yeah, we probably need a backup center now, because Gafford, he's just not providing much. And I love Gaff. I love the way he developed. I love he was a second round still out of Arkansas. You flip Troy Brown and Mo Wagner for Daniel Gafford. And got Chandler Hutchins is not here anymore, but it looked like a steal. And I just don't know how he's progressively regressed. It's just baffling to me. It really is how much he's regressed. And it's just honestly disappointing, because I'm a big Daniel Gafford fan, and he does other things that other centers can't do. No, not a lot of guys can jump like him and finish around the rim like him, and he's really regressed.
So let me ask you this.
Can't even catch the ball.
Let me ask you this. If you're an opposing GM, would you take a risk on him? He's going into an extension. I mean, because
if I'm the Hawks, I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I can see that. Yeah. I mean, because you got to figure, if you trade for Gaff, you're going to have to develop him, because he's still raw.
Mm-hmm.
Like you mentioned earlier, his basketball IQ is still work in progress. He's still working on the mid-range shot. It's just the fouls, when he's frustrated, it shows, because he's clapping his hands. He's mad. It's just, less clapping, more playing. But, it's just, I can see Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's hard to say Atlanta too, because they already have Nyake. So they got Capella, they got Nyake, so they have him as a backup big. But I could just see Trae Young and DeJounte Murray throwing him lobs every game. I could see that. But yeah, is there anything you want to look at before we wrap up? Yeah, we want to thank you guys. 78 people in the chat tonight. Thank you guys for coming in and watching and listening. But yeah, there's so many. Yeah, there's so many comments. We're gonna try to get to you guys' comments on another episode. We're definitely gonna do a mailbag episode next week. Yeah, Terrell Funter, I like this comment. He said the Wizards are in denial. They need to pull a Jackson State and let someone who knows basketball come and run things. I thought the comment was gonna say Quentin Jackson. They might as well. I was gonna say they should bring him up to help out. But is there anything you want to read before we wrap up?
Nah, I mean, I think everybody's kind of got the same opinion of the game, man. Everybody's, I see a lot of good comments. You guys are absolutely correct. But like I said, I like to thank everybody for, showing up and showing love tonight and sitting here talking to us. So, I'm good.
Definitely, yep. All right, Brandon, you can wrap it up. Just some Wizards therapy tonight, just talking it out with you guys after this terrible showing from the Washington Wizards. But yeah, Brandon, you can wrap it up.
Yes, sir. Again, I'd like to appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight and showing some love. Thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen. For your next listen, check the Locked On Sports Today podcast. The biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day. Available on Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get podcasts. Again, like, and subscribe. Follow me and my man, The Real Ed Oliver, on Instagram and Twitter. And again, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Have a good night and peace.